Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. This is a show that is brought to you with emotion, passion, uh, coughing, because I'm trying to get over this cold. So hopefully that doesn't affect it. But my comments, as well as your comments in the chat. I am your host, Bronco Bill. Okay, guys, I'm fighting this cold. I wouldn't call it really a cold. I don't know. It's been raining here the last 3 or 4 days. It's been miserable outside. I've been working in the cold at the golf course. There's been blustery winds. And I know that a lot of people throughout the entire country will laugh at me as well as Southern California for saying that, it's blustery and it's cold. For us, it is, okay? It's where you are. It's your elements. It's what you're dealing with. So basically, that's what I'm dealing with, okay? I'm dealing with the cold, the rain, the wind. We've been Southern California is normally at this time of year is like 68 to 70 degrees. We're at like 58, maybe 60. The other day I went to work and it was like 33 degrees and ice all over my windows. So yeah, I'm dealing with that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to bore you with all that kind of stuff because we got a lot more stuff to get into. Okay. The topic of the show is it all comes down to Elway. Well, I'm going to get into that, but I'm going to get into a lot of other things. And if you look at my name in the lower left-hand part of the screen, it says, what if the Broncos had Kyle Shanahan? What if? I'll get into that too. First off, let's start off. And the only reason why I'm starting off with this is because it's been in the news everywhere. Since last Sunday, this topic has been in the news ever since the last game of last Sunday's championship games was finished. And here it is. You got it, guys. The jackass of the week. Okay. Everybody knows who the jackass of the week is. Well, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. It's Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions. And here's why. People say, well, they've gone for it on fourth down all year long and it's worked. Really? Has it worked 100% in the season? No, it hasn't. Has it worked 100% in an entire game? I doubt it. Well, unless they went for it one time and got it. Maybe that's 100%. I'm talking multiple times, like what happened last Sunday. Okay? Let me flash you back, guys, to last Sunday. Okay? Detroit was ahead of the 49ers at halftime, 24-7. Yes, San Francisco was going to get the ball to start the third quarter, which they did. And they went down the field and got a touchdown? No, they got excuse me, guys. Like I mentioned, I'm fighting this goal. They didn't get a touchdown. They got a field goal. Made it 24-10. Okay? Detroit then had a fourth down. And I think it was 4th and 3, 4th and 2, something like that. Inside field goal range. Absolutely inside field goal range. Does Dan Campbell go for it on fourth down and gamble with a 14-point lead and possibly shift the momentum to the 49ers? Of course he does. Of course he does. Why? Because Dan Campbell thinks with his freaking heart. Right here, his heart, not his head. You got to be smart. If the 49ers came out of the locker room and got a field goal to make it 24-10, why doesn't Dan Campbell go for the field goal and make it 27-10? Get that 17-point lead back and keep the momentum in Detroit on the road in San Francisco. Nope. He goes for it on fourth down. And sure, maybe the receiver should have made the catch, but that's beside the point. The point is, if you're in field goal range, you've got to take the points. Don't leave him on the field. And I know people are going to say, well, what if he missed it? Okay, what if he missed it? Well, at least you tried a more sure thing than going for it on 4th and 3. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Now, did Dan Campbell learn from what didn't work the first time? Nope. He goes for it again on 4th down. And now the game's a lot closer. I think it was 24-17, if I'm not mistaken. And they go for it again, and this time it's even worse. The quarterback, Jared Goff, rolls out to his right. He's running for his life because San Francisco knows what Detroit's going to do because they've been doing it all year long. He throws it a lame duck and lands 4 or 5 yards short of the wide receiver. And incomplete. San Francisco, right down the field. And eventually, I'm not going to dwell on this, guys, because I got a ton of topics today. But I wanted to get this off my chest because it's bugging me big time. Why in heaven's name do you leave points on the field? Why? Again, they were in field goal range. They could have made the field goal and gone up again. But nope, they didn't. And then, so that when they went for it on that 4th down, that second time, Detroit was trailing 27-24 or 31 something. Anyways, they were trailing by 3. And they didn't go, they went for the 4th down and didn't get it. If you kick that field goal, you tie the game. What are you doing, you freaking idiot moron? What are you doing? Well, you're doing what you did all year long. And I know it got you to the playoffs and it got you to the division. It's different in the playoffs. It's different in the championship round because you're this close to making it to Super Bowl. Well, guess what, Dan Campbell? You were that close to being a good and a great head coach. But you're also this close to being, actually, you're this close to being Jackass of the Week because you are. Because you're an idiot and a moron for allowing your team. And in the press conference, they asked him, how does it feel? And he goes, well, this really hurts. It's pain. Well, of course it hurts because you made the stupid decisions. You're the idiot. Of course it hurts. You let your entire 53-player team down. And then you get Jared Goff up there saying, we believe in him and, we should have executed, blah. Hey, if. Hey, if I was Bill Gates' son, I'd be a billionaire. Well, inherited. I mean, you can say if all you want. That is stupid. That is absolutely stupid. You can't live by ifs. If I do this, I'll be there. No, you can't live that way. It's stupid. Absolutely stupid. All right. I'm going to move on because I need to get to better topics than that. All right. Speaking of a better topic, hang on, let me get the chat real quick. Big E is in the chat, and I really do appreciate it. Big E Bronco batting leadoff in the chat. Thank you so much, Big E. I really appreciate it. Big E says, "Thank you, Dan Campbell. I won $1,000 because of him, and I didn't bet until half." What? Big E, are you freaking kidding me? Wow, dude. Hats off, man. Hats off to you, my friend. Hey, money. That's okay. Let me ask you. So, Big E, okay, we're gonna go into this Big E little chat thing here going on. So, Big E, you bet. Okay, how much did you have to bet to win $1,000? That's what I want to know. And how did you bet? Did you do it like on MGM Bet, or did you do it with Sports Bet, or through a bookie? How'd you do that, Big E? I gotta know that, man. I hope you're still in the chat because I definitely want to know about this. It's pretty cool. Here in California, Southern California, I don't know about Northern, but at least it's Southern California, we have a whole lot of Indian tribes and casinos and whatnot. We cannot, we meaning anybody in Southern California. I don't personally bet, that's not my thing. But I mean, I kind of do a little bit. I'll do a scratcher, California scratcher, or whatever. But what I'm saying is, we cannot do MGM, or we cannot do DraftKings, or can't do that type of sports betting, because it was voted out in a California vote that we will not be allowed to vote on those, because they being the casino people said that it would be taking away money from their gambling rights. So, it's just a bunch of BS. It wouldn't take anything away. You still got people that ain't gonna go and pull the slots and that kind of thing. So there's no way that that would have happened. All right, Biggie chimes back in about my question. It said, my brother bought me that San Francisco couldn't win at halftime, 100 against his 1,000. Oh my gosh. Okay, Biggie, you didn't do it on a betting thing? You did it with your brother? Oh my gosh, dude. It's a wonder you still have a brother. It's a wonder you still have a brother. So once again, he says, my brother bought me, or bet him, is what he's saying. My brother bet me that San Francisco couldn't win at halftime. 100 against 1,000. Wow. And then Biggie follows up by saying, yep, or yes. Holy smokes, Biggie. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. Well, congratulations to you. I bet your brother's not too happy. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him, because Detroit had that game. You have to admit, Detroit had that game. 24-7, a beatdown. They're basically being booed off the field at halftime. And then everything changes. And I have to put my finger on the halftime show. It was Journey. Journey is a San Francisco band. They played the song to wrap up their halftime show, Don't Stop Believing. Well, apparently the 49er player didn't stop believing, and neither did Big E, because he won $1,000. Holy smokes, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy that your brother would put up $1,000. Well, hey, when you're up 24-7, I guess I would have done the same thing. Except I'm not that kind of betting guy. All right, guys, let's move on. Biggie, you are absolutely bringing it tonight, man. Love it. Biggie says, before we get in the next topic, Biggie says the funny thing about it is he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and should actually know they could drop 30 in a quarter on you because they did Pittsburgh week 1. Ooh, that's true. That's very, very true. Yeah, but he probably looked at it and said, hey, that's Pittsburgh. That's Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's nothing. Well, San Francisco, I know Detroit is much better than Pittsburgh, no doubt about it. But wow, dude. I'll tell you what, Big E, I got a lot of respect for you, man. A lot of respect for you that you would, you only ponied up 100, but 100 is still 100 to lose if you lose. So, that's just the way it is, man. Wow, dude. That's freaking crazy. Once again, Big E, congratulations, man. I kind of wonder if you're still on speaking terms or if your brother is still on speaking terms with you. Hopefully so. Hopefully it was just one of those things, but losing $1,000, man. That's pretty steep, dude. Pretty steep. All right. My brother-in-law from Vegas, Rudy Torres says, hey, brother. I say, hey, brother, what's up, my friend? Thanks for watching. All right, man, we're going to get into this. All right, here we go. Dolphins are glad to see – wait a minute. Wasn't Vic Fangio head coach of the Broncos? Yes, he was. And then he goes to the Dolphins as their defensive coordinator. Guess what? When he was in Denver, the players didn't really like the way he treated them during practice or workouts, and he ran them in the ground pretty much. Well, guess what? Vic Fangio was let go after just one season in Miami, and the players don't seem to mind one bit. Of course they don't. Vic Fangio is like a drill sergeant. He just beats you down until you just don't have anything left, which is stupid. I continue. Injuries on defense were a problem, and the players feel it was the way Fangio goes about driving the players. If you remember, Fangio was over the top in Denver as well, and the Broncos had major injuries. Now Fangio is in Philadelphia as their defensive coordinator. Let's see how things work out there. I don't think they're going to work out any better. I really don't. Vic Fangio is a thug when it comes to running his players on defense. Pound, pound, pound. You can't do that. You ever take a hammer to a rock? A rock is solid, man. A rock is rock solid. That's why I call it rock solid. It's solid. You take a hammer to a rock long enough, and I don't mean a big sledgehammer. I'm talking a decent sized hammer. You hit that rock enough times, and that rock is going to break. It's going to crack. It's going to disintegrate. Why? Because it takes pounding after pounding after pounding. It can only take so much, guys. And that's the same way with humans. Fangio doesn't get it. He didn't get it in Denver. He didn't get it in Miami. That's why he's done, one and done. Now he's in Philadelphia. You think the Philadelphia players are going to put up with that? I don't. I certainly don't think that's going to happen one bit. And I hope they don't. Because, Fangio's not cut out. He's not cut out in today's NFL. He really isn't. That might have been, what would have worked in yesteryear. Doesn't work in this year. Doesn't work at all. Okay, so Biggie comes back in response to what I said. So hope you all guys, hope you and your brother are okay. Says we're good. We are good. We haven't. He also says that that's just one day of work for him. Wow. Okay. Well, hey, if your brother's making $1,000 a day, great. Must be nice. Yeah, fantastic. I think it's great, man. I think it's great. All right, Kamani is in the house. Kamani Dixon in the house. Shotgun Bill the Hitman. Shotgun Bill. Oh, my gosh, man. That's great, Kamani. That's great. I'd love to have you in the chat as always, man. You're batting second. Actually, you're batting third. My brother-in-law chimed in, so you're batting third, Kamani, but that's okay. That's okay. I just want to see who may be batting cleanup. So it's all good, man. It's all good. All right. Chris Jones. Now, Chris Jones is going to the Super Bowl this year for the Kansas City Chiefs. Is it the last game he's going to play in Kansas City? Well, he is looking for big money payout. And that big money could come from, here we go. According to Kenneth Tepe of NFLanalysis.net, the Chiefs are set to lose Chris Jones. Oh, boy. Could this happen? Denver needs help on the defensive line, and according to Lou Scattaglia, a predominantly orange, sorry if I mispronounce your name, I apologize, he believes Chris Jones could end up in Denver. Now, can Denver afford him? Of course they can. They have billionaire owners, but the NFL has salary caps. Let me continue. Sure, with the billionaire owners, the Broncos can afford him, but they are in salary cap hell. Jones is reported to be seeking $30 million per year. That may be more than Denver can afford under the cap. I totally agree. Now, can Denver work out something magical, like, with the, deferring money, reducing other players' salary, restructuring some salaries? Sure, they can. But are they willing to do it for a Chris Jones? I would love to have Chris Jones on Denver. Absolutely would love it. No doubt about it. But is it going to happen? Can Denver afford? Now, does that mean they have to cut people? I don't want that to happen either. I mean, we have a lot of free agents out there that we may be losing. But I don't want any key quality cornerstone players gone. I've mentioned that time and time and time again till I'm Bronco blue in the face. And I'm going to continually say it. You cannot give up a cornerstone player. Work the contract, do whatever. I'm not talking about trade. I'm just talking about giving up as far as letting somebody walk whose contract is up. You got to work a deal. You have to work a deal. And that's the fear that I have, is that some of these Bronco key players are going to walk. And it happens every year. I understand that. I get it. I just don't want that to happen in order, if it means we got to give up, we're still going to eat Russell Wilson's contract once he's gone. We're still going to eat it. So that's dead money right there. So that hurts big time when it comes to signing somebody like a Chris Jones. That's what bothers me. Kamani says, I'll take third as far as being in the chat. It's okay, Kamani. It's okay, man. You're moving up the ladder. Most of the time you're up there at the top. It's all good, dude. It's all good. I'm just pointing it out, just going down the line as, who chimed in first. It's all good. All right. Biggie Bronca says they can do that, but what they're going to have to do is find a trade partner for Russell Wilson and come off from draft capital or another player to make it worth the trade. I'm not too sure, Biggie, that there's going to be a team out there that's going to want to trade for Russell Wilson. The only way that's going to happen is if the Broncos eat 90% of his contract. Okay, let's say the Broncos owe him $35 million. Let's just throw that out there. Okay, let's just say the Broncos owe him $35 million this coming 2024 season. And let's say there's a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers who need a quarterback, say, hey, we're willing to trade for Russell Wilson, but you have to pay him $25 million of the $35 million, and we'll trade, and we'll give you a little bit less hit on your salary cap. Okay, maybe that happens. I'm not buying it. Reason why I'm not buying is I haven't seen it. Russell Wilson hasn't been cut yet by the Broncos. Are they still trying to trade him? Probably. Are they still trying to see what is out there, what they can do? Probably. But does that mean that possibly the Broncos could hang on to a Russell Wilson? After all, if you're going to pay him, why not keep him on your team? But then what does that do for the quarterback role? Do the Broncos draft a quarterback? I'll get into that in a little bit in this show. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. All right. Christian Parker. The Broncos' Christian Parker. Denver's defensive back coach is getting a lot of attention from a lot of NFL teams. Last week, he was interviewed by the Green Bay Packers for their defensive coordinator position, which came after the Patriots interviewed him for the same defensive coordinator position. Parker has been with the Broncos for the past 3 seasons. Wow. I don't want to lose Christian Parker. He's great with the defensive backs. Absolutely great with the defensive backs. Seriously. If he goes and gets elevated to defensive coordinator, that's fantastic for him. But my question is, does he want to stay with Denver? Is he willing to leave and go to Green Bay or New England or anywhere else? I don't want that to happen. I don't know. Maybe Christian Parker sees the writing on the wall. There have been a plethora of New Orleans Saints coaching staff people coming over from the Saints to the Broncos, which kind of, lends me to make a joke and call it the Denver Saints. Holy smokes. Really? Might as well be. But beside the point, I know that head coaches bring in their own guys, and I understand that that's all well and good because they're familiar with them. I get it. But wow, maybe Christian Parker sees the writing on the wall, which I don't like. I like this guy. He's been doing great as a defensive as the what did I say it was? He was a defensive backs coach. He's been doing great. I don't want him to leave. Like I said before, I don't want anybody wearing orange and blue to ever leave. Only certain players. Only certain players. Other than that, the majority, no, I want them to stay. But that's not happening. Apparently. The Broncos didn't even have a winning season. And other teams are calling for our coordinators and our coaching staff. Just go to show you. Just go to show you that they see something in these guys that they love, and that's what I love. I want to keep them in Denver, but also, I mean, hey, if you got a chance to better yourself or do whatever, that's fine. You know, I mean, I'm all for it. I just don't like it. I like to keep our team the way it is, but you know, our coaching staff and whatnot. But you know, I get it. All right, here it comes in the chat. Biggie Broncos says, "All right, Bill. Let me ask you this question. Would you trade Russell Wilson to, say, Pittsburgh, take a second-round draft pick, but you got to send PS2 with him in a trade?" No, 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 no. Emphatically, no. Absolutely not, Biggie. Absolutely not. I'll get into that because I have a topic on that regarding PS2. And I'm not in favor of it. I'm absolutely not in favor of it. And the reason why, and I mentioned before, and I'll say it again, when you have a shutdown corner, like we had in Champ Bailey, like we have in PS2, like we have in Justin Simmons as our safety, you don't get rid of those key cornerstone players. Okay? Biggie, let me ask you this. If you get rid of PS2, where does that leave the Broncos? Oh, yeah, well, we got other guys to fill in. Are they as good? Are they back-to-back all-star guys? No, they're not. So why would you do that? Why would you get rid of a solid, proven Pro Bowl player back-to-back years? Should be all pro again anyways. And do that for the sake of getting, what do you say, for getting trade to, say, a second-round pick? No. I wouldn't even trade Surtain for a first-round pick. And like I said, I'll get into that, and that's going to be solid, dude. That's going to be solid. So listen up, pay attention, because it's going to be solid. And I would love your comments when I bring that topic up. It's going to be electric. It's going to be electric. All right. I agree with Kamani. I totally agree with Kamani. Kamani Dixon in the chat says, cut Bowles and any other dead weight player. Absolutely. Totally agree. You get rid of dead weight. You don't get rid of star players. That's one thing you don't do. You don't get rid of them. You know, we got rid of Von Miller. I know people say, well, you know, he wasn't really performing in Denver at the time. Okay, fine. So what? He performed in the Super Bowl, didn't he? Okay, maybe he had a down year. People have down years. He goes to the Rams. Bam. Super Bowl champion again. Shannon Sharp leaves Denver. Didn't want to leave Denver. Left Denver. Went to Baltimore. Bam. Another Super Bowl. Okay? It happens. Why? Because they're great players. Tom Brady leaves the Patriots. Bam. Goes to Tampa Bay. Super Bowl. Guys, am I making this up? No, I'm not. I'm not making this up. What I'm saying is, okay, yes, Patrick Surtain hasn't won a Super Bowl in Denver like the other three I mentioned. You know, did I leave out Peyton Manning? He left Indianapolis, comes to Denver, bam, Super Bowl. Why? Because they are great players. That's why. Greatness continues regardless where you are. And I don't want to see Patrick Surtain on any other team but the Broncos, period. Why? Because greatness is greatness anywhere. And Patrick Surtain will be great anywhere he goes. Hopefully, nowhere other than Denver. That's what I'm saying, guys. That's what I'm saying. Yes, Kamani, that's how we can get some cap space, is to let Garrett Bowles go. I don't know if that's going to happen. I haven't heard any chatter about that. So, I'm not sure. Kamani also talks about Sean Payton bringing his own players, or his coaching staff says him bringing his own people to the Broncos. I don't want to see it either. You know, Kamani, it's not so much that I don't want to see him bringing in his own coaching staff that he had in New Orleans. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is, are they going to be the same type of coaching staff that was when they won the Super Bowl. I mean, that's years and years removed. I don't know. It's a different team, different city, different organization, different ownership. I don't know. But it's still the same Sean Payton. It's still the same coaching staff. So I'm just not too sure. Biggie chimes in and says to trade Russell Wilson, it actually may take PS2 and Garrett Bowles to get out of that contract and take a second-round pick. Again, I don't want to see it, Biggie. I don't want to see Patrick Surtain named in any type of trade situation. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. It's not going to make me happy if I ever see that. And if I see that happening and it comes down, this show will blow up. I will freaking lose my mind. Absolutely lose my mind. That would be like the Broncos getting rid of John Elway. I mean, seriously. It has that same level, in my opinion, to me. I'm not saying anybody else. To me, it has that same kind of level because I don't want to see it. Patrick Surtain is, to me, on defense what John Elway was to the Broncos on offense. Solid, just able to do whatever it takes to not be burned, period. Guys, remember Super Bowl 32, that Whirlybird helicopter move by Elway? Yeah, that kind of toughness. And that's what Patrick Surtain has. All right, I move on. David Burns in the house, batting cleanup. The fourth person in chat, thank you so much, David Burns. Really do appreciate it. He says, I'm watching from Cedar Hill, Texas. Thanks a whole lot, man. Thanks, David. Hit the like button. Thank you so much for being in the chat. Where is exactly Cedar Hill, Texas? Is it close to Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, Austin, anywhere around there, San Antonio? I have no idea where it is. Please enlighten me because this Southern California kid, I've only been to Houston. So that's the only place I know in Texas. So as far as being there. All right. David Burns also follows up by saying, and Von Miller end up getting good with the Rams. Yes, he did. See, that's what I'm saying. You don't let great key players go. You just can't. You do, and you're destined to regret it. And Von Miller never wanted to leave. He even talks to this day about we in referring to the Broncos. So does Peyton Manning. Well, Peyton Manning never left. Peyton Manning retired, let's see. David Burns says, you're welcome, Bill. You're thank you very much. I appreciate it. Once again, where is Cedar Hill, Texas? Really would like to know exactly, kind of close to one of those other major cities that kind of gives me an idea where it is. All right. Pete Carmichael, not Pete Carroll, Pete Carmichael. Pete Carmichael's time with the Saints, here we go again, another connection. Pete Carmichael's time with the Saints is over, and he is set to join, you got it, guys, the Denver Broncos. But his role as of yet is undetermined. The agreement is set to be formally announced down the road. This is being reported by New Orleans Saints reporter Jeff Duncan, obviously in New Orleans. Carmichael has been the Saints offensive coordinator since 2009 till just this past season, 2023. Okay? Does that mean that he's going to be the offensive coordinator? No, I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't say. It says his role has not been determined as of yet. Apparently, he is definitely going to be on the Denver Broncos. If he hasn't already officially signed, it hasn't been announced as of going on the air tonight, Friday, February 2nd. By the way, February 2nd, this Friday, is the very first Broncos show of 2024 in the month of February. Thanks a lot, guys, for being here. It was also Groundhog Day, and apparently the groundhog did not see its shadow, so there's supposedly not going to be an extended winter. We'll tell that to our weather people out there. Starting Sunday, this coming Sunday, Southern California, where I live, is going to be inundated with 7 straight days of rain. That's right, guys. Not always heavy. It's going to be some light rain, but it's going to be 7 straight days, starting Sunday all the way through next Sunday or next Saturday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, next Saturday. Sorry, I had to count on my fingers because as Madungus Creevy says, math isn't my strong suit. Hey, whatever. Anyways, so we're going to be inundated with rain and weather and whatnot. So that being said, just threw it out there for what it's worth. But in any case, all right, let me get back to David Burns says, very close to Dallas, about 15 minutes away from it. Okay. All right. So you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I got it. Houston's a little bit east of that, if I recall, geographically, my mind, whatever. So, okay. That's good, man. That's good. That's awesome. Okay, Rudy, my brother-in-law, chimes in, says 16 miles southeast of downtown Dallas. Okay, that's very, very close. Downtown Dallas, 16 miles southeast. Okay, good. That's good area. Good area. I'm assuming. That's all right, David. Thank you so much for chiming in. Really do appreciate it. Now, you're an hour or two ahead of us. I think you're in Central Time Zone, so I think your time right now is 7:36, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's move on. Cody Rager. People are saying, who the heck is Cody Rager? Well, George Paton has made his first big move, according to Zach Stevens of DNVR. That move is hiring Cody Rager from, you guessed it, those New Orleans Saints. Yep. He will be in charge of player personnel as the vice president. Okay? Vice President, player personnel. Okay, that's great. Rager is viewed as a rising star in the scouting community. He spent time with Sean Payton in New Orleans when Payton was their head coach. All right, there you go. Another New Orleans connection. Speaking of, this is, okay, guys, fasten your seatbelts because I'm bringing it. Here we go. Before I get into it, David Burns said the Saints are sinking ship once again. Yeah. Well, I hope that all the guys that are bailing out of New Orleans and coming to Denver don't start sinking this ship, because I don't want that to happen. We've already had 6-7 years of that, so I definitely don't want that. Okay, guys. Like I said, speaking of vice president of player personnel or player personnel, I give you the topic, the main topic of the show, which is it all comes down to Elway. Look at my name to the left of your screen. It says, what if the Broncos had Kyle Shanahan? All right. What if the Broncos had Kyle Shanahan? And again, the topic says it all comes down to Elway. What's the connection? I'm going to give you the connection. All right. First, before I get into that, we all know that Mike Shanahan was the Broncos head coach when the Broncos went back-to-back Super Bowls in 1997 and 1998 with John Elway as their quarterback. Okay? That being said, Kyle Shanahan was always around the Broncos because he's Mike Shanahan's son. All right? Now, fast forward. When the Broncos trust, because Pat Bowlen was ill and could not run the Broncos effectively, he appointed Joe Ellis as the interim ownership, so to speak, not really ownership, but the head of the Broncos organization and the overseer for the entire Broncos players and all of that and everything going on. Okay. John Elway was the GM at the time and also was the president of the players. What is it called? Player personnel. He was in charge of player personnel. Okay. So fast forward now to the hiring of a new head coach in Denver after Fangio. Or was Fangio before? Anyway, it doesn't matter. What I'm getting to is you guys will understand this. Here it is. All right. John Elway blew it. Now, I love John Elway. Okay. I'm gonna move out the way. If you guys look up here real close, zoom in if you can. Let me go back. Come on, Bill, make it happen. There we go. Right there, that's me, and that's John Elway, and that's at a celebrity golf challenge or celebrity golf classic in Rancho Santa Fe in San Diego County. And I went there and I got to meet John Elway, and he was gracious enough to have a picture taken with me. All right. That being said, I love the guy. I'm not saying anything against him as a player. However, as a GM and director of player personnel, he choked. He blew it. He sucked. And here it is. This comes not from me. This comes from a reliable source in Woody Page. Here it is. According to Woody Page, a Denver Broncos beat writer says regarding why the Broncos didn't hire Kyle Shanahan as their head coach, Page says, and I quote, Ellis thought Kyle Shanahan gave the best interview ever. He called John Elway and said, you make the decision as head of football operations. Elway wasn't happy that Shanahan didn't like Paxton Lynch, but Kyle Shanahan said, I am willing to try and work with him. Elway chose Vance Joseph instead. End quote. What the heck? Elway, what were you thinking? Kyle Shanahan, the son of the Mike Shanahan head coach that led you and the Broncos to 2 Super Bowls, one after the other, back to back, and you turn your back on Kyle Shanahan because you, wait a minute, because you didn't like the way Shanahan didn't take to Paxton Lynch? Hey, hello? Aren't the Broncos doing that now? Didn't the Broncos do that with Sean Payton? Sean Payton was being hired as the Broncos head coach. And he said that he didn't really think and feel that Russell Wilson was going to work into his system, but he was willing to work with him. Okay, if it doesn't work, who do you get rid of? You don't get rid of the head coach who's a great head coach. And I know that Kyle Shanahan wasn't a proven head coach when all of this transpired with John Elway. But you got to allow Kyle Shanahan to do what Kyle Shanahan's doing now. Guess who's going to the Super Bowl, John? Yeah. Kyle Shanahan's led 49ers. That's right. The 49ers who came back against the Detroit Lions. Well, they came back, but that was the Lions' fault. Anyways, I already rehashed that. But in any case, Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. Oh, by the way, Kyle Shanahan is taking a quarterback who's basically a no-name in Brock Purdy. I mean, yes, Brock Purdy was in the playoffs last year and they lost to the Eagles because he got injured. And then they had to bring in backup after backup after backup. But the point I'm trying to make is this. Kyle Shanahan, he had Garoppolo, wasn't really his favorite, but he was willing to work with him. Because why? Because another former Bronco in John Lynch is the 49ers general manager. And he stuck with Kyle Shanahan. Why? Because he knows good talent, good coaching talent when he sees it. John Elway, well, I drafted Paxton Lynch, and my head coach has to like Paxton Lynch. Bull crap. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Look at Paxton Lynch now. Where's he at? Seattle. How's he doing? Sucks. Absolutely sucks. Because he sucked, and that's what Kyle Shanahan was trying to get across to Elway, is that he sucks. He didn't say it. Might as well have said it. Of course he wasn't thrilled with them. Nobody is. Paxton Lynch is an absolute bust. He sucks. And so does John Elway as a general manager. Love the guy as a quarterback. Love the guy as a Broncos player, not in management or in any level. Because he always thinks with his heart and not his freaking head. Man, oh man, what it says underneath my name to the left of the screen says, what if the Broncos had Kyle Shanahan? Now, I'm not taking anything away from Sean Payton. I'm talking about when we hired Vance Joseph. And that's what Elway did. He hired Vance Joseph instead of Kyle Shanahan. Now, Kyle Shanahan would have been a first-year head coach. Oh, and so was Vance Joseph. So that was an absolutely stupid, moronic, idiotic move that set the Broncos back years. And it's still setting them back because Kyle Shanahan is in the Super Bowl and the Denver Broncos are watching from their house. Plain and simple. Does John Elway feel bad about it? I don't know. I've not met him other than the time I got the picture. Well, it was years ago. So no, I don't know, and I don't really care. Because I know personally that was a horrendous mistake. Horrendous mistake that has put the Denver Broncos behind the 8 ball for the last 6 seasons. Absolutely. And now Sean Payton's doing his damn best to dig us out of that freaking quagmire. He's doing his best, but now we have a Russell Wilson. Those two don't match. It's oil and vinegar, or oil and water, whatever that thing is. It doesn't mix. It's not going to mix. But my point is, if Elway had done the right thing and hired Kyle Shanahan, where in the heaven's name would the Broncos have been the last 4 seasons? Where would we have been? I guarantee we wouldn't have had a Nathaniel Hackett. I guarantee we wouldn't have had a Vance Joseph. And I know we wouldn't have had a Sean Payton trying to dig us out of this quagmire because we wouldn't have been in it. That's the point. That's the point. And that's what pisses me off the most, is that we had the opportunity to have a decent head coach. We could have had a great general manager in John Lynch. Of course, John Elway wasn't going to step aside for that. But if John Elway would have done the right thing and hired Kyle Shanahan, the Broncos would not be in the mess that we're in right now and hopefully trying to get out of, because George Payton did the right thing in hiring Sean Payton. Holy smokes, man. I mean, it's unbelievable where this Bronco team could have been. Could have been. But Elway went with the quarterback. What an absolute joke. What an absolute joke. All right. Whoa, Travis Johnson is in the house. Travis, I'm glad I ruffled your feathers, my friend. Glad you're in the chat. Travis Johnson says, Kyle is not better than Sean Payton. Stop it. Okay. I'll give you the fact that Sean Payton's won a Super Bowl and Kyle Shanahan hasn't. What I'm saying is I'm not really comparing, Travis, I'm not comparing Kyle Shanahan to Sean Payton. What I'm doing is I'm comparing the fact that we had a chance to get a Kyle Shanahan, but John Elway took a Vance Joseph who was a complete bust. That's what I'm comparing it to. I'm comparing Kyle Shanahan to Vance Joseph, not Kyle Shanahan to Sean Payton. I even said I'm taking nothing away from Sean Payton because Sean Payton's trying to dig us out of this quagmire. What I'm trying to get across is that Kyle Shanahan is head and shoulders over Vance Joseph. Absolutely head and shoulders over Vance Joseph. No doubt about it. That's the comparison I'm trying to make. So if it sounded like I was making a different one, I apologize, Travis. That's not what I was going after. But thank you so much for chiming in. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. Okay. Travis Johnson follows up by saying, we have the right coach. Why are you talking about Kyle Shanahan? Because I was referring to the John Elway mistake back in the day. I referenced that and said that when John Elway was the general manager, he chose Vance Joseph over Kyle Shanahan because he did not like the fact that Kyle Shanahan didn't like Paxton Lynch. Well, nobody likes Paxton Lynch. That's why Paxton Lynch is not on the Broncos, and he's a backup in Seattle because nobody likes him. He sucks. let's see, Paxton Lynch. No, is it Paxton? Paxton Lynch not up there. Where's Paxton Lynch? It's Paxton Lynch. Anyways, Paxton Lynch is nowhere to be found. Anyways, all right. I move on. Let's see. Travis also says, yes, I'm right. But what Super Bowl has Kyle won? He hasn't won a Super Bowl. Not as of yet. But I'm referencing back to when the Broncos and John Elway went with Vance Joseph over Kyle Shanahan. That's all I'm saying. All right. Okay. Robert Marino, my nephew, chimes in and says Kyle Shanahan can make a bad quarterback a playoff caliber quarterback like Purdy. Peyton needs an established quarterback like Brees. I totally agree. Robert. And that's the point. And once we get that quarterback, and I'll get into that too as far as draft picks, but I'll get into that. But speaking of quarterbacks, let's move on. Speaking of quarterbacks, per Denver sports analyst Will Peterson, quote, the Denver Broncos need to bring in an X factor, and that person should be Taysom Hill, end quote. Ooh, Taysom Hill from the Saints? Okay. Everybody else is coming over from the Saints, so why not him? After all, Sean Payton had him as a quarterback / receiver / running back / whatever other position you want to put him in, tight end. I continue. After all, Sean Payton had him in New Orleans. Hill played for Sean Payton from 2017 to 2021 and held a variety of different positions. Hill's stats in his career are as follows: 27 rushing touchdowns, 11 receiving touchdowns, and 11 passing touchdowns. Should Denver get another stopgap quarterback and draft a quarterback in the later rounds? That's my question. Should the Broncos go after a Taysom Hill? Why not? He can be your tight end, your running back, your quarterback, your wide receiver. I mean, the guy, I'm surprised the guy's not a field goal kicker. I mean, really, the guy's incredibly talented. But do the Broncos go after a stopgap quarterback? Why not? Put him in there with Stidham. Draft a quarterback, just not in the first round, and realistically, don't move up if it means putting a key cornerstone player in the mix to trade up. I don't want that. I'm going to get into that in a minute. Spence GC is in the house. Spence, how you doing? Spence, thank you for correcting me. I knew Paxton Lynch wasn't in Seattle. I don't know why I said that. Paxton Lynch has been out of the NFL since 2017 and has only played in the spring league, XFL, USFL the past 2 years. Thanks, Spence. Like I said, I knew he wasn't in Seattle. I don't know why I said that. Drew Lock is up in Seattle, but hey, Drew Lock, Paxton Lynch, what the heck? They're all one the same. I mean, it's just uncanny that Elway would have made that ridiculously stupid move whatsoever. So that's just what bothers me. Oh my gosh, guys, I've got a couple, I got 3 more topics. It sounds like my voice is getting ready to go. Main reason, guys, is I'm fighting this cold. Thank goodness it hasn't been rearing its ugly head today or during the show. I've been coughing most of the day. I've been sneezing. I've been blowing my nose. My voice has been coming and going, but maybe it's because of all the emotion and passion in my voice. Dude, I just can't, I got to hang with this guy. I can't let him go down in flames. So anyways, I'm feeling good. I don't have any headache or any body aches, nothing like that. Just a head thing. I might have to do with the weather. Like I said, it's been raining 3 of the last 4 days. It's not raining. Rained a little bit today. It's not raining tomorrow. And then we're going to get an onslaught for the next 7 days starting Sunday. So, maybe that's the reason why, I've got all these cold-like symptoms going on. So anyway, okay, let me go. Robert Marino, my brother-in-law, says, bring Tom Brady out of his retirement for a year as a stopgap. It's funny you mentioned that because Tom Brady is on the he was on the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am yesterday and today. and they were showing him quite a bit today. And one of the announcers said that he looks like he can still play football. Well, you know what? That would be exciting, but at the same time, not so exciting. 46 years old. I don't want him taking hits that would just love, especially AFC West pass rushers that would just love to just put him into next century. Players like Bosa on the Chargers, or then you got Khalil Mack as well. You've got you got Chris Jones if he stays in Kansas City. Lighten up Tom Brady. Players like that. I don't want to see that. Excuse me. I really don't want to see that. So, good call, Bobby. But no, it'd be fun. It'd be interesting. It'd be great to have John Elway win Super Bowl, Peyton Manning win Super Bowl, and Tom Brady win Super Bowl in the Denver Broncos. That'd be pretty exciting. I just don't see that happening. All right. Spence GC says, time to call Walmart for delivery of Mountain Dews in Kona. There you go. Spence. I know it's not Broncos season stuff. I know we're not doing a neighborhood watch and all of that, but I hope you're still enjoying your Kona. I hope it's going down nice and smooth and enjoyable. All right, Spence says Tom Brady's making more money being a broadcaster with Fox. Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. And the guy, he doesn't really need a ton of money. I mean, the guy's sucked it away most likely, or spent it on his yachts that he's done, and who could blame him? I mean, he was in Tampa Bay right on the waterfront. I mean, holy smokes. Of course you're going to have a yacht. Of course you have it. Spence, real quick. Spence, there's a shout out for me. I sent you an email regarding your request or your text that you sent to Madungus Creevy in regards to a particular golf tournament. So in any case, let me know. Let me know if you received that email, and if not, I will resend it. All right, just throwing it out there. Spence, just really appreciate your invite. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Speaking of trades, speaking of draft choices, here we go. This is not what I want to see. Okay, here we go. According to Denver Sports, according to Denver Sports' Cecil Lammey, the Broncos are contemplating moving up from number 12 in the draft. But I ask at what cost? That's me. I ask at what cost? If Sean Payton wants to get his quarterback guy, he will most likely have to give up a king's ransom. That price may include Pro Bowl cornerback Patrick Surtain II. No. I mentioned that earlier in the show. I do not want Patrick Surtain involved in any trade, period. Does anybody out there understand that? It's not about me not wanting a quarterback. It's about me as a Bronco fan not wanting another team to have the best cornerback in the NFL other than the Denver Broncos. That's what I'm saying. And people say, yeah, but if you can get a franchise, okay, if there's that word again, if you can get a franchise quarterback, how do we know anybody out there on the board coming off this April is going to be another CJ Stroud or another Patrick Mahomes or another, I don't know, Justin Herbert? He wasn't that good his first and second year. It takes time. You don't know. We do know what we have in a Patrick Surtain II. We have the best corner in the freaking NFL. Why do you want to see him go somewhere else, like a Raiders team or like I don't care. It could be out of the division, out of the conference. It could be the Bears for the number 1 pick. But why? Do we know as a guarantee that we're going to get our franchise quarterback at that spot? Look at all the other draft quarterbacks we've gotten. Paxton Lynch, Drew Lock, Brock Osweiler. Oh yeah, those guys, they were drafted by the Broncos, and John Elway. Those didn't work out. And I know, guys, before you jump on me and say, well, that was John Elway, he was thinking from his heart. This is going to be George Paton. He's thinking from his head. Really? I know George Paton has made some great draft choices. He got Patrick Surtain. I mean, he's made some good draft picks. Or was that John Elway, one of his only good ones? Either way. George Paton has made some good draft picks. He has. But my point being is this. Do we gamble? Do we gamble, which I don't do? Or do you take a sure thing? And people say, well, we took a gamble with Patrick Surtain. Did we really? I don't think so. I don't think we took a gamble. I mean, a quarterback position is much different than a cornerback. Cornerback is different than quarterback. Quarterback has to call the plays, has to execute the offense, has to read the receivers and the defense. All a cornerback has to do is be one-on-one with a guy and make sure that guy doesn't catch the pass. And if he does, that he doesn't get much further than a couple of inches beyond him. That's what a shutdown corner does. And that's what Patrick Surtain is. Do I want to gamble and move up to the number one spot or 2 or 3 or 4 in hopes to get the franchise quarterback? Or do I want to take a quarterback later in the draft, develop them, bring in a guy like a Taysom Hill, or stay with a Russell Wilson, and then have this guy learn under a Sean Payton-led offensive team? That's what I want. I want to keep our defense solid. Guys, think about it. If we don't have a good offense, what kept us in those games in that 5-game winning streak that we won? What kept us in those games? That's right, the defense. The defense kept us in those games to allow the offense to do just enough what they had to do to win the freaking games. If we get rid of a Patrick Surtain and we have nobody on that side to even come close to Surtain, then our defense is depleted and our defense is weakened. And with a weakened offense and a weakened defense, we ain't winning many games. So that would be absolutely preposterous and foolish to do that. Absolutely foolish. And I know, guys, there's people out there saying, yeah, well, his own dad said, well, Patrick Surtain, he's staying on a team that, is ruining his ability. No, it's not. His ability's still there, and the team will get better. But it's not going to get better if you start getting rid of key players. That's for dang sure. And why does Patrick Surtain's name keep coming up? Because he's a hot commodity that other teams want. That's why. And if other teams want Surtain, isn't that head knowledge to say we ain't doing it? In my opinion, yes. So why are the Broncos even thinking of considering doing this? It would be stupid. If you get rid of a Patrick Surtain and you draft a guy like a Drew Lock or Brock Osweiler or a Paxton Lynch, this team is doomed for mega years to come. Hang on to a Patrick Surtain, draft a quarterback in the second round or third or whatever, and go from there. Work with Stidham. Bring in a Taysom Hill if you have to. But don't be foolish and throw away the best corner in the entire NFL to another team to just come back and burn the Broncos big time. Don't do it. Don't do it, George. Don't. All right, I continue. According to longtime NFL draft insider Tony Pauline, even though it would be the last resort to put a Patrick Surtain in a trade package, I absolutely agree. You cannot put the best corner in the NFL in any type of package. I don't care what the offer is. I don't care what the offer is. You don't do it. There's no Tom Brady out there And I mean, short. Now, I would do one thing. I would make a trade straight up, a Patrick Surtain for Patrick Mahomes, straight across the board. Absolutely would do that in a heartbeat. But that's not going to happen. It won't happen. But that's the only way I would ever put a Patrick Surtain in a mix. And even then, I would be hard pressed to think that I would really want that. I would be hard pressed to think I'd want that. I just really love Patrick Surtain. I don't want him going anywhere. I don't want him going anywhere. All right. Let's see. Spence says, got it, been too swamped. I'll follow up. No, ain't no problem, Spence. Just wanted to throw out, I didn't know if you got the email. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't send it to somebody else inadvertently, which I doubt. And none of that, but just wanted to make sure that actually went through. So no problem. No problem. Just wanting to let you know. Thank you so much. Robert Marino, my nephew, Bobby says, if Peyton has made good draft picks, then why not trust him to draft your franchise? Whoo, why not trust him to draft your franchise quarterback? Wow, Bobby, that's a great question. That's a great question. Well, franchise quarterbacks don't have to necessarily be in the first round, that's for sure, or they don't necessarily have to be the number one pick. Look at Tom Brady. He was drafted in the 6th round by the New England Patriots. He was their franchise quarterback. So you don't have to trade up to get a franchise quarterback. Franchise quarterbacks can be found later on in the draft, not necessarily the number one pick and not necessarily trading away your best corner in the entire NFL to take that chance. Great question, though. Bobby. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's what I'm saying. Bobby follows up by saying, why not just keep Russell Wilson? That's what I'm saying. Keep Russell Wilson, because if you're paying him $35 million anyways, why not have him stay on the team and draft a quarterback in the 3rd round, 2nd round, 4th round, whatever, and let him learn under Russell Wilson-led team. Not necessarily, like I said before, not necessarily how Russell Wilson does it, but how the system works under Sean Payton, how the system works to read defenses in the NFL, the speed of the game, all of that. That's what I'm saying. Jerry Wallace in the house. Jerry, nice to see you, my friend. Hats off to you. Thank you so much for being in the chat. Says, hi, Bill. How's everything? Everything's going good. Everything's going good. A little bit of, I don't know, congestion. Can't really taste anything. Got like this head cold or something, but I feel fine. I absolutely feel fine. No fever, no headaches, no body aches. Just kind of like this throat. Like I mentioned before, we've had three of the last 4 days. We've had a lot of rain and clouds and gloominess. And I've been outside working at the golf course, and that hasn't helped. And we've had a lot of wind and cold and stuff. So maybe I got a little touch of something going on there. But other than that, I feel fine. My voice is starting to go just because I've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes almost, hour and 8 minutes and 51 seconds. But hey, other than that, I feel fine. So you guys just bear with me. I got 2 more topics. I got a feel-good topic, and then I have a Super Bowl tickets topic. Here we go. This is the next to the last topic, guys. Here we go. This is a feel-good story. I love things like this. And it couldn't happen, seriously, to a better guy, a guy whose season ended way too early with an Achilles torn injury from the quarterback, and the team was on a roll. They're on a 5-game winning streak, and then they come into Denver and they lose to Denver. And this particular quarterback is kept his focus where it needs to be. He's very, very well grounded in his faith, and I'm speaking of none other than Kirk Cousins, quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. Here is the feel-good story. Last week, a bunch of college girls thought they saw Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins. So they told their teacher, who said, if you find him and bring him to class, you will get extra credit. So they ended up looking for Kirk Cousins. They ended up finding him, and it was raining at the time. So he said, I'll drive you to class. Now, come on. He said, I'll drive you to class. These girls don't know Kirk Cousins from Adam. Kirk Cousins doesn't know these girls either. But Kirk Cousins is an upright, moral, standing person. He is a class act guy on and off the field. So what does he do? He invites the girls to get into his car. Didn't say how many girls. It could have been 2, 3, 4, 5. Didn't matter. Didn't say how many. I continue. So he said, I'll drive you to class, which he did. He then entered the classroom and said to the teacher, thanks for having me, but now I'm going to hold you to the extra credits for these girls, end quote. How awesome is that? Can you imagine the thrill that these girls got? And of course, the thrill of everybody in the classroom that were able to take a picture. There was several pictures that I saw where Kirk Cousins is standing at the front of the room and standing next to the girls and getting pictures taken. And then, they got in this big group of all the kids in the classroom, and he's in the center getting, had a picture taken with the kids and the teacher and all that. What an absolute awesome thing to do. He sees these girls out there. They undoubtedly ask him if he's Kirk Cousins. He says yes. And then he drives them. It's raining. He puts them in his car. Don't know what kind of car it is. It's beside the point. Puts them in his car, drives them to the school, goes out, escorts them basically, or they escort him into their classroom. And then he's in this classroom with a bunch of these kids. What an awesome, awesome thing to do. Now, remember, Kirk Cousins is rehabbing from an Achilles injury that he had surgery on during the season that he was, out for the rest of the season. And here he is walking and doing. He didn't have to do this. He could have said, hey, girls, I'll drop you off at the school, but I can't come in because, my legs bother me. My foot's bothering me. It's hard to walk. I'm in a boot, whatever. I don't know. He could have said a whole lot of things, but he didn't. Why? Because Kirk Cousins is an upright, standing person. He gives back to the community like a lot of players should give back to the community. He's giving back to the community and to the NFL and to fans what he has gotten from the NFL. He has gotten a great career with the NFL, a great income with the NFL, a great camaraderie with the Minnesota Vikings. And yes, he was on the Washington Redskins. Commanders, but it was Redskins back at the time. Yes, but he has established himself more as a Vikings quarterback. And in my opinion, he's established himself as a great person in the community, not thinking about himself, but thinking about these young girls out in the rain when he could have easily said, sorry, I'm on my way to an appointment. I got to get there. I would love to do it, but I can't. He didn't make anything up. He bypassed anything that he had on his agenda to accommodate these girls and go to the classroom so they could get extra credit by bringing in a quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings in Kirk Cousins. Didn't say where this was. I'm assuming it was in Minnesota. Didn't say. The article didn't say. Doesn't matter. It could have been anywhere USA. That's the kind of guy a Kirk Cousins is. No wonder guys play hard for this guy, because not only is he a great player and a great quarterback on a fantastic team in the Minnesota Vikings, but he's also a great person, a great human, and a great overall person that should be looked up to and admired as to that's how each and every one of us should treat others. We should do the same thing in our community wherever we happen to call ourselves home. Hats off, Kirk Cousins. You are an amazing, amazing guy on and off the field. All right. Okay, Bobby says his favorite team is the Minnesota Vikings. That's not why I brought the story in. I brought it in because it's a feel-good story, and that's what I like to have. Bobby, huge Vikings fan, says, can Kirk Cousins drive me to class? Well, if you happen to find him, Bobby, I'm pretty sure he'd drive you to class, no matter where that class may be. All right, this is the last topic of today's show. It is talking about the tickets to Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Now, everybody knows that Las Vegas is the gambling capital of the world, so to speak. I mean, there's other places. There's Atlantic City, New Jersey. There's a lot of other places, but Vegas is Vegas. And Vegas is glitter, it's glamour, it's glitzy, it's Hollywood, Northeast, it's celebrities. It is where people want to be. And guess what? A week from this Sunday, people are going to want to be in Vegas for Super Bowl 58 between the 49ers and the Chiefs. All right? Now, I'm not going to talk about, I'll give you my predictions next Friday's show. So if you guys want to know what I think and who's going to win, stay tuned to next Friday. That's not what's going to happen right now. If you're even have an inkling of wanting to go to the game in person because you want to experience what being in a Super Bowl atmosphere as a fan in the stadium of a Super Bowl, listen up. Hopefully you saved a lot of coins, or you're willing to take a second out on your house, or you're willing to sell your vehicle. One of the three is probably going to have to happen, or you're a multimillionaire, because otherwise, I'm not quite sure you're going to be able to make it to Super Bowl 58 inside the silver. They don't call it the silver dome. They call it the what? The black, not the black hole. They call it, I forget. But there was a show I was watching on YouTube. You guys got to check this out. It's called From the Ground Up, the building of Allegiant Stadium. I watched it. That thing is absolutely phenomenal how they built that. Once again, you guys want to watch it? I don't get paid to plug this, but I'm plugging it anyways because it was absolutely amazing. You have to watch From the Ground Up, the building of Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Just type in From the Ground Up and type in Vegas Raiders. It'll come up. It's absolutely worth the watch. It's about 3 hours, but it's worth the watch. You don't have to watch it in all 3 hours, but I guarantee it is absolutely gripping to just see how they went about building this stadium. They originally were going to do it in, I think it was 3 years or 4 years, and they did it in two, little under two, like 2 3/4 something. I mean, 1 3/4 years. It's phenomenal, absolutely impressive, and totally worth the watch. All right, before I get into before I get into tickets, Robert Marino, my nephew, Bobby says, if anyone ever goes missing in Minneapolis, the police department should hire those young ladies to find him. Yeah, absolutely. No kidding, man. If you could find Kirk Cousins out in the middle of the street, yeah. But it didn't say where he was. It didn't say if he was driving. It didn't say if he was, eating somewhere, if he was just walking down the street. It didn't say. I mean, he could have been around the corner. I don't know. But you're right. It's just very, very awesome that they were able to find Kirk Cousins, and then obviously he drove them back to their class. All right, here it is. Super Bowl ticket prices for Super Bowl 58 in Vegas. Here goes. The Super Bowl is still a little over a week away, but if any of you are wanting to see the game in person in Las Vegas, you might want to sit down for these prices. The ticket prices are the most expensive of any Super Bowl. Well, I know they go up every year, but do they go up like this? Holy smokes. Keep listening. But then again, it's Vegas. Upper Deck section 414 is going for, hold on a second, Upper Deck, okay? Let's say this is the Upper Deck section. 414 is near the very top of Allegiant Stadium. Okay. Now I know Bobby, my nephew, it says in the chat, Robert Marino, I call him Bobby. It's a whole other story. Anyways, he's been to Allegiant Stadium. I doubt seriously that he paid what I'm going to tell you it's going for in Super Bowl 58. Now, he was in the end zone. He wasn't way up in the nosebleed section. He was in the end zone area, which is a little bit, closer to the field, obviously. Listen to this. Section 414 is going for $10, $100, $1,000, $10,312 per seat. Per seat. $10,312 per seat in the nosebleed upper section of Allegiant Stadium. I continue. That is in the upper deck, like I mentioned. In the upper field level, okay, now you got field level, and then you got the upper field level before it goes to the loge and then above, okay? In the upper field level, section 117, just one seat will cost you $13,778. And that's not even on the 50-yard line. That's off to the side, okay? $13,778. Upper level at the 50-yard line, the upper level again, okay? So remember the upper level that I said was 414, section 414? That's off to the side. This is upper level at the 50-yard line. I couldn't read the section. It was kind of blurred. Upper level will set you back at the 50-yard line. Upper level set you back $14,673. Okay? You want to know what the 50-yard line is at field level? Couple rows back from the field. Okay, here we go. You ready for that second mortgage? You ready to sell your car? Because this cost of one seat at the 50-yard line, field level, about 3 or 4 rows back from the field, is going to cost you a car. Not your car. I'm talking about buying a car, the price of a brand new car. Here it is. Okay. And the most expensive seat is at the 50-yard line, field level, C134, about a third back from the field, is a whopping $39,336. And there are 3 seats left at that price if any one of you are interested. Holy smokes! $39,336 a seat. Wow. All I can say, guys, is I'm going to say, let's see, $39,336. I think I'm going to save myself $39,300 because I'll spend the $36 on beverages and chips and dip. How's that? I'll save myself $39,000 and I'll enjoy it from the comfort of my chair right there, right there in the den, watching the football game and not having to worry about how in heaven's name I'm paying for $39,000 seat or how I can justify it. Holy smokes, sometimes I can't even justify spending $100. Has to be really something important, something I really want. And I know that may sound cheap and whatnot, but it's not that I'm being cheap, guys. It's just, holy smokes. No wonder the Super Bowl has turned into a corporate attended event. It's only for the rich and famous. That's all the Super Bowl's for anymore. It's you and me. It's you and me as fans that make the NFL what it is because we buy stuff like this hat or that Avalanche banner or that pennant there or that Bronco flag or this championship thing. It's because we support the NFL by buying their gear, their merchandise. And then when it comes down to going to the Super Bowl, the game that all of us would love to go to, and no, I wouldn't love to go to this game because I'm not a 49er or a Chiefs fan. But if it was a Bronco game, I would love to go. Absolutely love to go. But not at the cost of $39,000. They need to make it more affordable for the everyday average fan. They have to. in the stadium that holds, let's say the stadium holds 70,000. They need to make at least 20,000 seats available for the general fan. And I don't mean at the cost of $10,000 like the first one I mentioned up in Nosebleed. No, make it more affordable, like maybe $700, which is still a lot, but not $10,000 lot. Make it more affordable, guys. Make it more reasonable for the average fan so we can go and attend and say thank you to the NFL for, allowing, general public fan to go to the game. But when you price it ridiculously like that, it's only going to be the rich and famous and corporate organizations. Is that what the NFL wants? Possibly that's what the NFL wants. That's not what this guy wants. I wanted to bring that in because that is absolutely outrageous. Outrageous that they would ask 39,000 plus for a seat at the 50-yard line about a third of the way back for any Super Bowl or any game for that matter. That just blows my mind. When I saw those numbers, I thought, holy Toledo, are you freaking kidding me? No wonder the average fan is excluded. Average fans excluded because I know the NFL is all about money. I got it. Every business is about money. But when you exclude your fan base that supports the actual team and the organization and the league, you can't exclude them. You cannot exclude them. And to ask a person who's a fan of any team that wants to go to the Super Bowl and ask them to spend $10,000 plus for one seat, for one game, plus hotel, plus you got to get there, whether it's airfare or mileage or gasoline, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a lot more than $10,000 plus. And that to me is sad. That to me is sad. Now, I'm not going to end the show on a sad note because that's not what it's about. What it's about is that was just crazy amount of money. But the NFL sure knows how to market their product. They sure know how to get the biggest bang for their buck. And I will guarantee you guys that stadium will be sold out. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It will be sold out. All right. Okay. Bobby said, what's the most you would spend on Super Bowl ticket if Broncos were there? Well, I just mentioned, if you give the average fan the opportunity to go to game and make it reasonable, I'd be willing to spend maybe $1,000. Maybe I don't want to spend any more because it's going to cost me gas money to get there because I live in Southern California. It'll take me 5 hours to get there. Then I got hotel. So, and hotels in Super Bowl are not going to be the same as they are when there's no Super Bowl. I heard on the news out of Elway today that hotels prices have been doubled in the Vegas area for the Super Bowl. So if a hotel normally would be on weekends, let's say normally be $250, $300 a night, now they're going for $500 or $600. So if you're asking me how much would I spend for a ticket, I would go to up to $1,000. But then you got to add a hotel, so that's another $500. So that's $1,500. Then you got gas, food. So that's another $500. So now you're talking what? $2,000 to go to a game. Then you go to the game. You want to buy souvenirs. You want to buy, something to eat and drink. Well, at a Super Bowl, you think eating a hot dog is going to cost you $250? No, try about $7 for a hot dog. I don't know. It could be $5. It could be something less. I don't know. There goes my voice again, guys. But what I'm saying is, it's going to cost me more than $1,000 if that's just what the ticket price is. But yeah, if everything else was on the house, sure, $1,000 is nothing. Well, it's something, but it's not $10,000. But what I'm saying is, it's not going to be just $1,000. It's going to be more like $2,000, $2,500. Is it worth it? Absolutely, absolutely, be worth it. But to me, it's not worth $10,000 or 14 or 13, and definitely not 39,000 plus. That's all I'm saying. All right, Doc Hopper is in the house. Doc, nice to have you. It better late than never, man. If you want to go back and watch the entire show, go back to the very beginning. It'll be up and ready for your viewing as soon as I sign off here. And then it's also on my own personal channel, YouTube channel, Broncos Breakdown. Look for me. Look for this symbol up here in the right-hand corner. It says Broncos Breakdown. Look for that. That will be me. I will upload it, and it should be ready to go about a half hour after this show is done. Doc Hopper says, Bronco, MF and the best. We out here, my man. Well, good, man. I'm glad, man. I'm glad, Doc, you're out here. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Thank you so much for the shout out. Thank you so much for keeping the MF to just initials. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for keeping it clean, and really do appreciate it, guys. I really do appreciate each and every one in the chat. I'm going to get to you right now. I'm going to go down the list, and then we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for being here on a Friday and putting up with this squeaky voice of mine. Like I said earlier, if you don't know what's going on, go back to the very beginning of the show. You'll know why it's like this. So thank you guys so much for bearing with me and for chiming in. Big E in the house, bat leadoff. Always do appreciate it. Rudy Tord, my brother-in-law from Las Vegas, batting second. Glad to see him. Kamani Dixon batting third, and really do appreciate it. David Burns batting cleanup. Thank you so much for being in the house and your comments. Spence GC, really do appreciate your comments as well. Thanks so much for being in the chat. Travis Johnson, always a pleasure. And then wrapping it up Bobby Marino, Robert Marino, my nephew. And then wrapping it up, we have Jerry Wallace as well. Not quite wrapping it up. Jerry Wallace is in the chat. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much. And then Doc Hopper, rounding out the entire batting lineup for the chat. Really do appreciate it. Doc Hopper, thank you so much for being in the chat and being the last one. Really do appreciate it. You guys are the best. I've said that many, many times. I'll continue to say it. If it wasn't for you guys in the chat watching live each and every Friday night, this show would not be nearly as good as it is. That's it, guys. That's all I have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you have not, please do so. Hit the like buttons on your way out. They cost you nothing. But that's the best way to let everybody else know you like the show. When they see the thumbs up, that means you guys like the show and you would like everybody else to watch it as well. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks once again for hanging in there with me in this scratchy voice. Thanks again for being here on a Friday night as you kick off your weekend 1 week prior to the Super Bowl. This weekend, this Sunday is Pro Bowl Sunday. You guys enjoy the games. Enjoy, if you guys are into hockey, enjoy the All-Star game tomorrow night, Saturday. Enjoy that game as well. And until next Friday, guys, have a wonderful, safe weekend. And I will see you next Friday night, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. Till then, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a minute, work hard for the car, so that's why